Hi, are you ready for action? Hi, my name's Christine L. Conroy. Welcome to Happy Stuff and Fluff, a channel for women over 50 who are getting happy and growing younger. If this is your first visit to Happy Stuff and Fluff, you need to watch the first 4 videos in this series. I'll leave a link so that you can do that, then come back here and join us ready to take action. Okay, so guys, you've whooped your goal and you've smartened your goal. Now it's time to take action. Okay, so thank you for all your comments. It's been really interesting reading what you're all up to and what you want to do. 1 or 2 of you in terms of obstacles have said that you tend to be the kind of person who will start something and then give up kind of halfway through, or not even halfway through. Sometimes it's even difficult to start when you want to achieve something. Okay, well, we're going to address that today. But first of all, let me show you where you are, so you know where you are at the moment. This is you. Okay, might not look quite like you, but just use your imagination a little bit. So this is you sitting on this side of the river. The wish, the whooped and smartened goal that you want to achieve is on that bank at the other side of the river. Now at the moment, you're looking over there, you're wondering how on earth you're going to get there. You can only just about see the other side, but you know that's where your achieved goal is. So we have to work out now how you're going to get from where you are to where you want to be. This is how you're going to do it. Okay, you're going to take small steps to get from here across to the other side. This thing about getting halfway or not even starting is because very often we think about this kind of huge thing this huge goal that we've set ourselves, and it's a really big goal, and it's like this, and we think, oh, you start to get these negative thoughts coming in. I'm never going to do that. I'll never lose 2 stone. I'll never, oh, I'm not going to get right across the river. It's just too far. Okay, that's because it's an evolutionary thing with your brain. So don't beat yourself up about that. It's perfectly natural. Your brain, one of the jobs of your brain is to protect you. And often when there's a great big change looming, your brain kicks into action. It doesn't want you to make that great big change because it doesn't know whether it's safe for you to do. So if you think of it that way, that's why we're afraid of the unknown. Why your brain says, warning alert, you shouldn't be doing that. We don't know what's around the corner. It might be a tiger, and so on and so forth. So what we have to do is trick the brain. Okay, just think of it like that. We're going to trick the brain. So let's just go back to these steps then. You've got this goal. We have to work backwards now, and you have to work out the steps you need to take in order to get there. Now notice, there might be a direct route of steps to get to where you want to be, but as we go along, we may take a wrong turn, we may take a different step and then get back onto the path. Sometimes it may feel like it's 1 step back and 1 step forward. It's not going to be a dead straight line. Be aware of that so that when it happens, these obstacles we talked about, you'll know, this is just something I have to work out and deal with before I can get back on the path to get me to the other side. So that's another thing to remember. Now and I've got one here this time, I'm prepared. In Silver Linings, I use the example of weight loss simply because at this time of year, that's what lots of people say they want to do. And in terms of breaking it down into steps, so if I say I want to lose weight, we know now that's not good enough. It has to be whooped and it has to be smartened. So I know exactly how much I want to lose, and I know by when I want to lose the weight. And so now I have to break it down into steps. What do I need to do in order to lose that weight? Well, the first step might be, it could be research a healthy eating plan, one that I know will be sustainable for me. There could be an even earlier step than that, which could be to clear out my cupboards of all the unhealthy foods that are in there, biscuits or cakes or whatever your particular temptation is, crisps or anything like that. Clear them out of your cupboard first. That could be your first step. So you need to break it down into these smaller steps. Now that way you're fooling your brain, you're tricking your brain. So your brain thinks, oh, she's emptying her cupboards. That's okay, no problem. She's getting rid of healthy foods. No change there, that's cool, no problem. Oh, she's going to the grocery to buy healthy foods. That's okay, no danger there. By the time you've taken all the steps, your brain is completely fooled and your huge change has been accomplished by using these small steps. Okay, now it might sound silly, but it's true and it works. It makes things easier. This is why it's important to chunk it down into small steps. So, have that in mind. The other thing I want you to do, when you've broken it down into steps and you take your first step, I want you to forget about being across the other side of the bank now and just focus on the first step. And once you've completed the first step, only focus on the second step, then focus on the third step. Okay, so I like to use the analogy here of it's like driving a car in thick fog. You know where your destination is, so you get in your car, but you can only see 20 or 30 yards in front of you. So driving slowly, being considered and thoughtful and skillful about the way you drive, you will get 20 yards ahead. When you get 20 yards ahead, what can you see? Just another 30 yards in front. So slowly again, you get to that point 30 yards in front and you keep going until finally, before you know it, you've got to your destination. Okay, excuse me. So that's the way I want you to do this. Now, obviously, I don't know what your end goal is. So I can't say to you, take this step, this step, this step. You may need 5 steps, you may only need 3. You need to take some time out to work out those steps. Now, don't be too rigid about these steps, because what tends to happen is sometimes when you've taken the first step, all of a sudden the second step becomes even more clear. Or you may think, I'd put such a thing down as step 2, but now what I know I've taken the first step, I need to do this instead. And that's the way you build and keep going along. So don't think to yourself, how am I going to get from here to the other side of the river? Only think to yourself, how am I going to get here onto that first stepping stone and then onto the next stepping stone? But if you do have a loose plan of steps to take, then it gives you something to aim for. Now, in the next video, I'm going to talk about why you need to set goals anyway. And we're also going to talk about big dream goals. Now, you might think, shouldn't you have done that beforehand, before all of these videos? But I wanted to kickstart you into running through this process to get you used to that process. And then we can start to tackle other things that you might want in your life. But I want you to see this working first. And then, as I say, we can start to use it for you to achieve other things in your life. Okay, so think about the steps you need to take, whatever they might be. Think about the first step, because there is a saying which is important: never lose the sight of setting a goal without taking an action. Now, that action could just be a telephone call. So, for example, for me and my yoga, I've already taken one step. You know, the obstacle for me was my injured coccyx. So I have signed up for a treatment plan for that, as opposed to just going and paying each step as I went along. I've committed to a series of treatments to get this fixed and paid for that. So that's my motivation to keep going. I don't really need that kind of motivation now that I'm being treated for this. I can see and feel better already. But so that's the first thing. Now, my next step, the minute I leave this video, I'm going to research yoga clothing online, because I know if I buy myself some lovely new yoga clothing, then it'll be a case of I can't wait to try them on and put them to use. So I know that's going to work for me, so that's what I'm going to do. That'll be the first thing I do when I've finished from this video. So what I want you to do, think about your steps, think about what your absolute first action step is going to be, and tell me in the comments below. This is important. Please tell me what your first step is. Write it down below. Take that first step, and then when you're ready and you know what your second step's going to be, you'll take your second step, and I'll be with you along the way. But for now, get that first step thought about. Tell me what your first action is going to be, even if it's only a phone call or some research or anything along those lines. Put it in the comments box below. And we're off, guys. We're off. Okay. Thank you so much for being here. You know I appreciate you. Thank you so much for taking the time for comments. It's just great. And remember, on the Happy Stuff and Fluff channel, we are getting happy and growing younger. See you next time. Bye bye.